So now we're on to probably one of the most exciting topics in JavaScript, and that is the array type. Now this chapter is dedicated to getting you up and running with arrays, understanding what arrays are, why we should use them, how they work, how we can loop them, and everything else. Now, first off, it's good to mention we've already dealt with objects, which are for dealing with unordered data structures. Now, if we want to specifically control and guarantee the order of something, we would then use something like an array. Now, arrays are typically created for lists of things. We could have a drinks menu, for example, and then we could perhaps loop over our list of drinks and perhaps log out the prices of them. Now, in this lesson, we're going to create a constant called drinks, and we're going to assign it these square brackets. So this is what we call an array literal syntax. Now, this is quite similar to the object literal syntax, but instead we use the square bracket. So when it's a square bracket, it is indeed an array and not an object. However, an array is a special type of object as well, and we'll come on to this momentarily. Now, similarly to objects, arrays are in fact also passed by reference. So if we said const drinks reference equals our drinks, we could then go down, console log things out, and we could say, does my drinks equal my drinks reference? We'll save this out and see true, because yes, much like objects, arrays are also passed by reference, which means if we were to use our drinks reference and mutate it, our drinks original array will also be updated. So keep that in mind. These are not primitive values like strings, numbers, and booleans. They behave in different ways that can sometimes catch people out, and we're here to learn why. And if we understand why it works, we know why something behaves further down the line in a way that it does. So it becomes easier to reason about our code and also debug it. So now we have this drinks array. Let's actually take a look inside it and just see what it gives us as a definition. Now, if we expand this, you'll see the prototype has array, and then it has all of these methods, and these are array prototype methods. We're going to be looking at these at the end of this chapter, but these essentially help us mutate arrays or perform operations to change the contents of the array. It could be removing, adding items, reordering, and so forth. So what do we want to put inside an array? We could have an array of numbers, and what we use to separate each item in an array is a comma. So there's no key value pairs. Each item is an individual unit. Now, when it comes to drinks, we can demonstrate this a little bit further. We can say this is our lemonade. We'll have a lime drink, and we'll also have a peach drink. If we save this out, you see we have 3 string values contained inside our array. Now, as I mentioned, you can put anything you like in an array. We can have arrays inside of arrays. We can have objects inside of arrays. We can have strings, numbers, anything we like. And we'll be exploring these in more detail as we continue. Now, let's carry on and have a look at some alternative ways that we can declare an array. We can use the new array, the constructor syntax, to pass in our array items. Now, it's highly recommended not to use this approach. We also have the ability to drop the new keyword. These two do exactly the same thing. If you don't call the new keyword, this function does it for you underneath the hood. So it's slightly different to that static number function, the static string function, and boolean, as they do not create new instances. This does create a new array for you. So that is our introduction to the array syntax. We've learned in this video to create a constant called drinks. We're assigning it some square brackets to creating an array literal. We then learned about arrays, much like objects being passed by reference. We compared the two, and much like objects, no two arrays are ever the same as well. And we can confirm this if we say an array equals an array. And you can see that that returns us false. So no two arrays are the same unless they are the same reference. We then looked at the constructor syntax of creating an array, and we'll look at some differences between these as we continue. So that's it for this video, and I'll see you in the next one. where we're going to talk about array properties, zero-based indexes, and an array element.